Hello, Sonicseer here with the Gamer Scene, and this is the World of Battles review. I've been wondering how to do this review for a little while now, because of course I've done live reviews, I've done reviews where I talk generally about the game, so I thought this time I'm going to do something a little bit different, try and differ up my style a little bit, and so I've broken the game up into 4 categories. 4 categories are gameplay, they are story, they are graphics, and they are multiplayer. So let's kick off with category number 1, gameplay. World of Battles is a sort of real-time strategy, RTS, a bit in the style of Rome Total War, I believe it is. Never played the game, but from what I see, it's that kind of thing. You control an army, you have different type of units, and you basically take them into a battle with another army, and you have to win battles, complete objectives, you can capture flags, that kind of thing. And so it's got quite a competitive market to live up to, because Rome Total War did very well and it was very much liked, so it has that kind of thing to live up to when it's competing. What the game does have is the game has a level up system when you win battles. When you win a battle, you get a certain amount of experience and you get a certain amount of money, but the experience levels you up, and when you gain levels you can get more units, you can get more armour, and you can get more weapons, which is kind of a nice twist to Rome, to the kind of RTS strategy, because normally when you play these type of games, you play it with an army, but you build your army from either a village, or you build your army from, like, it's already put there. This game you have to earn your army by levelling up, playing more battles, going online, that kind of thing, and I really did think that was quite a good mechanic to make you play the game a bit more, because you're not just given it on a play, you have to actually earn it through your own hard work to get there, and so I kind of liked that. The game has both single player and multiplayer, in case you weren't sure. Single player is pretty basic, but I'll mention that in the story section. So what else we got? As I said, you can get more units by building up your level and that kind of thing. The units are pretty standard, like horse, spear, melee, warriors, and range. And you can manage your army. You can kind of like buy armors, you can buy weapons for them to improve their stats, and you can switch them on, switch them off, move them out, move them in, that kind of thing, to just kind of add a bit of immersion so that you really feel the army's yours, you can do what you like with it, that sort of thing, and it's really quite good to get you into the game. The game is free, and so it does have a money-making feature. You play for premium and you get more money when you win. There are less restrictions on your units that you can have, so you can have more units, and everything's cheaper in the shops. For me, I liked this because it meant I could actually get into the game without having to fork money on it. As it's advertised as free, it is free. I hate those games where you need like a pneumatic drill and a bankload of cash to get into the game at all, to be able to feel like you're playing. This game does let you in kind of nicely without having to spend money, and I really did quite like that. Unfortunately, there was the flip side of that, which meant I didn't actually want to spend money on the game. I was like, well, what's the point? I saw no benefit of actually spending money on the game to make it better, because there was no real boost to the game. What else have we got in the gameplay section? The controls are kind of nice, kind of easy, as you'd expect, but then they've been refined with Rome Total War. The developers did well not to take something that works, chuck it in the bin after putting it in a shredder 50 million times, and so they take it and it works. The mouse, you move it to the side and it's a little bit it moves a little bit quickly, but you quickly adjust to that kind of thing when you're playing the game anyway. The single player was quite easy. I found the single player pretty easy to play. They kind of teach you the weaknesses, like spear is good against horses, melee is good against archers, that sort of thing. So they do teach you, bring you up quite well, and it does bring you into the game quite well, and there are plenty of single player missions to go through, so if you're not interested in playing multiplayer, which I wasn't that bothered, you're not going to have to go against the world and his wife to play the game. Anyway, gameplay done. Let's move on to story. Category which is pretty much null and void by the fact the game has no story. You're given a sequence of missions, you progress through them, and you kind of work out each one, get the money, get the experience, move on to the next one. There's no connection from what I could see to it. In this section I can tell you what the categories are. It's kind of a magic-based game, so there are knights, there are orcs, there are goblins, there are elves, there are all sorts of crazy-ass creatures running around, and so you do get So it is different. You're not talking about Rome Total War-esque style gameplay. You are talking sort of magic twist to it, which is something I've not seen, and I did think that it was quite a nice feature. And it's not really my thing, if I'm honest, but it was a completely different twist. The loading screens did advertise like really massive ass creatures, like huge, like 5 million times the size of humans. I never saw any, so I was a little bit disappointed there. I was kind of hoping, yeah, I'm going to control a massive creature, and that's going to be quite awesome. But unfortunately, I never got there, and I was just a little bit let down by that fact, really. Anyway, let's head on to how the game looks. The game looks quite nice. I'm not going to lie, I did like how the game looked. Sorry, my voice is screwing up then. It's quite late, you can leave me be. I like the way the game looked. It wasn't graphically, we're talking Crisis level, it was never there, but it's an RTS, it doesn't need to be. For an RTS, it looked nice. I did like the way it looked. The graphics were clean, they were crisp, they were nice and bright, and it quite good. You could also zoom in like really intensely on the battles to get in real close with your units, all of which has individual soldiers in the units. So you could see like 2 soldiers from individual teams fighting one-on-one, and it was quite nice to be able to see that kind of thing, because it meant that you could really get into your army, you could get involved, and as the characters were quite detailed, and you know there was all the detailedness and the level of detail, and the graphics were nice. You could see what was going on, and it was all great. It was a little bit confusing occasionally because they like to leave the corpses of everybody that's dead like a big ass crematorium, and they don't move them. They don't like fade away, and so sometimes you've got piles of dead bodies. You've got 2 armies on top of these piles because you're fighting over it like a bunch of fighting school children. And it kind of just gets, what the fuck? Where is my army? Where's who's what? Who's where? And this sometimes made the difference between me feeling that the game was running smoothly and the game was kind of bricking up a little bit. Well, not bricking up as in dying. Bricking up as in just kind of chucking a brick wall in front of my face so I couldn't really tell what was going on, and there was no point in me looking at the screen. But I did still think that the graphics looked nice. I liked them, and that is definitely not a feature that holds the game back. Now, finally, multiplayer. Multiplayer, I've always had an issue with multiplayer RTSs in the fact that you go on multiplayer and everybody's awesome at the game. When I play RTSs, if I've ever gone on multiplayer, I've always felt really like scared of going up against somebody because I know that they've got these tactics. They can basically become a general in any country's army, and they would know what to do. If I play the game because I want a bit of fun, and I can never get that online because it's all a bit serious. It's all a bit complicated. If you're good at that thing, by all means, go for it, because you know, you're gonna, if you're into the game so far, you're gonna like it. It works well. The multiplayer's fine. I had to wait a little bit to find a game, but it's not a popular game. It's free, and I didn't wait that long. But it was just a little pause that kind of made me sit there and go and get a drink or something and hum myself a little tune. And then I was like, oh, I was in a game. You do get and when I played, I got 2 teams, and I think there were two like players against me playing, and I think what the AI did was the AI gave me an army, and it was either the AI gave me an army or I had somebody with me who was a completely different colour for no reason. This one makes me think that it was an AI, because I was blue, the opponents 2 were red, and the guy next to me was for some reason green, but that might be to differentiate between the armies, possibly. I wasn't sure, but I couldn't feel I could get on sync with the army that I was playing with. There was no way of communicating for me. I couldn't see any way, and it kind of meant that we split up. Things went all wrong. The other 2 army massed us, and we all kind of died. That's the problem I do find with these games. The multiplayer learning curve is fuck hard. You're either on single player, you're cruising along nice and early. You go on multiplayer, and it's like bam, brick wall, cliff, climb up it, bitch. And I can never quite get over that. Anyway, I still enjoyed my multiplayer experience. I did get destroyed, but I still enjoyed it, and I thought it was good to play, and it adds a nice feature to the game if you get a bit bored of single player, which I can imagine you did. Anyway, let's round this up with an overall look. The game, for me, I don't know, maybe scores 7.5. It was good, and I liked it. Maybe 8 even out of 10. It was good, and I liked it, but there was just something I think it was mainly because the game isn't my style of game that I kind of didn't click very well with it. But it still is a good game. It's free, so that kind of boosts it up a lot of marks, maybe even to 8.5 if you're going to push it. And I definitely worth checking out as it's free. So, you know, have a look. Definitely have a look, especially if you're into RTSs. Have a look. You might well enjoy it. I enjoyed it while I was there, and I did waste a few hours on it. And considering I've been playing Euro 2012 recently, it was a bit of an upgrade in the intelligence of computers, because, you know, that Euro for 2012 is like, you know, playing with children sometimes when you're playing against the AI. And this wasn't much better. The AI were a bit thick, but they're never going to be able to compete with a human player playing against you. And when you do play against human players, it's fuck hard. That's all I can say. Anyway, that's my review done. The score is 7.5 to 8.5 out of 10. I can give it anywhere between there, depending on whether I'm into that type of game or not. Anyway, if you liked this video, please hit the like button below. If you have any thoughts on this game, please hit the comments section below with your thoughts and what you think of this game, whether you liked it, etc, etc. And make sure you press the subscribe button if you want to have the latest videos straight to computer. Finally, check out thegamerscene.com. There are going to be loads of articles up there on this, on other stuff, and so you've got to make sure you check it out. Anyway, that's me, Sonicateer, the World of Battles review. Sorry, I can't speak again. That's me, Sonicateer, out.